Have you ever noticed something strange? The people who talk the most are not always the ones who are respected the most. Some people walk into a room and try very hard to be noticed. They speak louder, explain more, interrupt faster, and somehow they believe that being heard means having power. But there are other people too, the quiet ones, the calm ones, the ones who are not in a rush to speak, the ones who are not looking for attention from anyone. And yet, when they finally say something, people listen. Not because they speak louder, not because they are trying to impress anyone, but because their silence carries weight, their presence feels grounded, and their words feel carefully chosen. In a world where so many people are constantly trying to prove themselves, that kind of calmness becomes rare, and rare things naturally become valuable. And before we go any deeper, I want to say something very simple. This is the first message I'm sharing on this channel, and I do not want this space to become a place that teaches us to become cold, distant, or to believe we are above other people. After all, we are still human. We feel, we get tired, we get hurt. We need peace, we need to be understood. And more than anything, we still need love. So this channel is not about turning silence into arrogance. It is about learning how to stay calm, learning how to protect your peace, while still keeping the softness that makes you human. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that real strength does not live in noise. It lives in self-control, in clarity, in emotional discipline, and in the ability to stay calm when the world around you keeps trying to pull you into chaos. Today, we are going to explore why becoming more quiet can completely change the way people see you. Not because silence makes you colder, not because silence makes you better than others, but because real quiet confidence no longer needs to compete for attention. And if you truly understand this, you will never see silence as weakness again. Most people react very quickly. Someone disagrees with them, and they immediately want to defend themselves. Someone misunderstands them, and they rush to explain everything. Someone says something that hurts them, and they feel like they have to respond right away, as if staying silent means they have lost. But people who are truly calm understand something very important. Not everything that happens around you needs an immediate response. Some words only need to be heard and then allowed to pass. Some opinions only need to be noticed, not carried into your heart. And some people do not deserve the power to disturb your peace. This is where silence becomes powerful, because silence creates space, and that space gives you time to choose. You can choose whether to speak or not, choose how much to say, and choose whether that moment is truly worth losing your calm over. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that what we can truly control is not everything that happens outside of us, but our own mind. That idea sounds simple, but if you truly understand it, it can change the way you live. Because the outside world will always be full of noise. There will always be people who misunderstand you, judge you, interrupt you, doubt you, and sometimes treat you with disrespect. But when you no longer let yourself react on instinct, you begin taking your power back. Silence does not always mean agreement. Silence does not always mean fear. Sometimes, silence is simply self-control. It is a quiet choice that says, you will not allow someone else's emotions to pull you out of your calm. And when people realize that you are not easily dragged into their chaos,
they begin to sense something different in you. A steadiness, a maturity, a mind calm enough not to be shaken just because someone else gets loud. That is why silence can sometimes create respect. Not because you're trying to seem mysterious, not because you think you are better than anyone else, but because self-control is a very rare kind of strength. And rare things like that are something people can feel very clearly.
There is something very strange about communication. Not everyone who talks more actually makes people listen more. Sometimes, the more a person talks, the more their words begin to lose weight. Because when someone always has an opinion about everything, always wants to jump into every conversation, always wants to prove they know more than everyone else, after a while, people start to feel tired. Not because that person is not intelligent, but because their words appear so often that they no longer feel special. Imagine a meeting. There is one person who keeps talking. The moment someone finishes speaking, they immediately jump in. Whenever someone shares an idea, they want to add something. Before someone even finishes a sentence, they are already rushing to explain it in their own way. At first, people may listen, but as time goes on, their attention begins to fade. Not because they dislike that person, but because the words come too often and slowly lose their weight. Now in that same room, there is someone else. This person does not talk much. They listen. They observe. They let other people finish their thoughts. And when they finally speak, the room becomes a little quieter. Not because they ordered anyone to be silent, not because they are trying to seem important.
Some people are very easy to read. With just one small comment, you already know how they will react. With just a little disagreement, you already know how angry they will become. With just a moment of not getting attention, you can already see them trying to prove themselves. Not because they are bad people, but because they reveal their emotions too quickly. When they feel sad, they show it immediately. When they feel angry, they respond immediately. When their ego is touched, they instantly want to prove something. And when someone reveals everything too quickly, others begin to feel that they are very easy to affect. But quiet people are different. They do not rush to show the world everything happening inside them. They do not react to every word. They do not explain every emotion. They do not allow everyone to easily see their weak points. And that alone creates a very special feeling. Not the kind of mystery people create just to get attention, but the depth of someone who knows how to keep part of their...
One of the most exhausting things for a person is constantly feeling like they have to prove something. Prove that they are capable enough, strong enough, smart enough, worthy of respect. The moment someone doubts you, you want to explain yourself right away. The moment someone misjudges you, you want to correct them immediately. The moment someone fails to see your value, you start feeling like you have to make them understand. And that is completely normal. Because everyone wants to be acknowledged. Everyone wants to be seen for who they truly are. But the problem is, if you always need other people to validate your worth, then your peace will always be in their hands. When they praise you, you feel valuable. When they dismiss you, you start doubting yourself. When they misunderstand you, you spend the whole day thinking about it. And little by little, you stop living from your own calm and inner confidence. you begin living through the way other people see you. Quiet people often understand this more deeply. They do not try to explain themselves to everyone, not because they are arrogant, not because they do not care about anyone, but because they understand. When you begin speaking less, you start seeing more. You begin to see more clearly who truly listens to you, who is only waiting for their turn to talk, who makes you feel lighter, and who only leaves your mind feeling more tired. This is not about judging other people, and it is not about becoming cold. It is about understanding more clearly where you are placing your time, your emotions, and your care. Because when you are always explaining, always trying to please everyone, always trying to keep everything peaceful, it becomes very easy to forget something important. Not everyone who enters your life brings peace with them. Some people make you feel lighter, but others only leave your mind feeling more exhausted. Some people respect your silence, but others only become uncomfortable when you stop reacting the way. There is a very common misunderstanding about quiet people. Many people believe that if you do not react immediately, it means you are weak. If you do not argue, it means you have nothing to say. If you do not defend yourself loudly, it means you have lost. But the truth is not always like that. Sometimes, the quietest person in the room is the one with the most self-control. Not because they are afraid to speak, but because they know which words should be spoken, and which words will only make things heavier. Not because they have no opinion, but because they understand that not every opinion needs to be proven immediately. Not because they do not know how to respond, but because they have learned that a rush reaction can sometimes leave them with more regret. The silence of a calm person is not submission. It is a choice. A choice not to turn everything into a battle. A choice not to let one angry moment damage the things they have worked hard to build. A choice to keep their dignity, even when someone else cannot keep their calm. A quiet person can still say no. They can still set boundaries. They can still leave a conversation that is no longer healthy. They can still protect their peace. But they do it without losing their kindness, without becoming harsh, without turning themselves into someone full of anger. That is real strength. Not the kind of strength that makes other people feel small, but the kind that helps you not lose yourself. The Stoics understood this deeply. Self-control does not mean suppressing every emotion. It means knowing that the emotion is there, but not allowing it to decide how you behave. So if you are becoming quieter over time, do not rush to believe you are becoming weaker. Maybe you are simply becoming more mature. Maybe you are learning how to protect your energy. Maybe you are realizing that calmness does not need to explain itself too much. And maybe, within that silence, you are becoming a more grounded version of yourself.
So, when you begin to become more silent, it does not always mean you are closing your heart. Maybe you are simply learning to listen to yourself more. You begin to understand that not everything needs a response. Not everyone needs to be convinced. Not every conversation deserves to take away the peace inside you. You begin to talk less, but think more. React less, but observe more clearly. Try to prove less, but live with more steadiness. And that is when people begin to feel the change in you. Not because you have become cold, not because you are trying to seem mysterious,
but because you are no longer so easily pulled away by every noise around you. You know when to speak. You know when to stay silent. You know when to explain. And you know when to simply keep your calm and move forward. That is a very quiet kind of strength. It does not make others afraid. It does not need to overpower anyone. It does not need to prove that you are better than others. It is simply the strength of a person who has learned how to stay connected to themselves. The Stoics understood that calmness does not mean being emotionless. Silence does not mean weakness. And self-control does not mean you no longer feel pain. You are still human. You still feel sadness. You still get tired. You still get hurt. You still have days when your heart feels heavy. But instead of letting every emotion pull you away, you learn to see them more clearly, understand them more deeply, and not allow them to decide who you become. That is the real value of silence. It does not make you disappear. It helps you return. Return to your calm. Return to your self-respect. Return to your kindness. And return to a version of yourself that no longer needs to compete for attention, just to feel valuable. Because when you truly understand who you are, your silence carries weight. Your presence carries depth. And your words, when spoken at the right moment, carry a calmness that other people can feel. That is why the more silent someone becomes, the more inner strength they can sometimes seem to have. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they have learned that some of the most beautiful things within a person do not need to be loud to be seen. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. This channel was created not to make us become colder, not to teach us to compete with life, but to help us learn how to live with more calm, more clarity, more kindness, and more steadiness, even when the world around us is full of noise. If you remember only one thing today, remember this: silence is not always weakness. Sometimes it is how a person protects their dignity, protects their peace, and protects the kindest part within themselves before saying something they may later regret. And before you leave, I want to ask you something. In your opinion, what makes a quiet person still feel like they have inner strength? Is it their calmness, the way they listen, or is it because they no longer need to prove so much? Leave your thoughts below. I truly want to hear your perspective. See you in the next video.